We do have a lot to talk about regarding masks. They've been a huge flashpoint, of course, for most of the pandemic. And here in Denver, they actually lifted the mask mandate last week. Well, now several governors have announced plans to lift theirs. So, Dr. Kohli, in your opinion, is it too soon to get rid of masks? And also, looking back, have they worked, in your expert opinion?
So I'll answer that second question first. They have absolutely worked. And I feel almost like we're being ungrateful. You know, it's like when you take a friend's favor when you really need it, and then you don't appreciate that friend later. That's how we're doing with the masks, because they saved our butts. They saved us when we had no vaccines, we had a terrible variant, we had people ending up in the hospital dying, and that is what got us through this pandemic to the point where we can even sit down and have this conversation. So they work, and I don't know why this is still a question, guys. I don't know who is spreading the misinformation, making it a question, but to me, that's not even a point of discussion. But is it too soon? Yes. Should the masks be lifted? Absolutely. Not today. Not today, because our kids under 5 are not vaccinated. Our community transmission, meaning the amount of infection we have out there, is still sky high. It hasn't come down and stayed down, and we are just tempting another variant if we do this today instead of in a few weeks.
So why aren't we waiting?
I would say at least wait till like springtime, because I feel like springtime people are going to be enough with this. We're going to be outside. I'm taking my coat off. I'm taking my mask off. I'm not doing it anymore. If I were the government or a state, I would be like, listen, let's just hang on till winter. It's kind of nice when it's cold out and you have a mask on.
You have a scarf
you breathe
on
a little better.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have it during the winter. But come spring, I feel like people are going to be done with this.
Well, I sort of agree with what you're saying, but I don't agree with the why. You can't decide when you're going to be done with this, Jeff. The virus decides when we're done with this. So we can't just say, oh, guess what, now it's endemic, because we're sick of it. We're going back to our lives as usual. The positivity rate, the virus, the control of the infection tells us when it's time for us to be endemic and be done with it.
All right, well, let's take some viewer questions, Zach, because we have one from Verna, and it seems like a lot of these mask rules are really just for show. What's the point of wearing them into a restaurant just to take them off when we eat? And why are people still wearing them outdoors? Is this really effective? Sounds like I wrote this.
The outdoors thing keeps you warm, right? We just talked about
it does, when it's really cold, like here in Denver, it does.
Yeah,
yes.
But it's not that effective to reduce transmission, right? Because we know transmission doesn't occur much outdoors. But in an indoor crowded restaurant with possibly poor ventilation, a lot of people talking excitedly, especially under the influence of alcohol, perhaps, emitting droplets, it does help to wear the mask when you're walking around, especially because when you're walking, you're generating a cloud in a superior position that could potentially get to other people. When you first walk in, there could be a bunch of people standing at the door. I like to go to those restaurants where there's always
I haven't been out to dinner.
Table.
I haven't been out to dinner past 6 o'clock in 20 years. It feels like 20 years. It's been like 5. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about dinner, but we got to talk about kids too. 3 of us have them. I have kids, and it's like, 4 states are talking about, ending school mask mandates. Like, how do you feel about this? I have 2 kids in school, 3 kids in school now. It's crazy to think. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. My kids seem to be fine wearing masks. I've kind of been gauging them and seeing, like, are they annoyed? Do they take it off as soon as they get in the car? Do they take it off as soon as we get home? And they don't. They never mention them. My 7-year-old never pulls at it. I think kids are very adaptable, but, talk to me, Doc. Is this a good idea?
I don't have kids, but I am very nervous about this because kids under 5, Jeff and Sam, you both have one each of, they're not really.
I have 2 under 5.
Oh, you have 2?
I'm nervous, yes.
They're not eligible for the vaccine yet. And we cannot have masks come off and not have a vaccine mandate in school because that's like, basically getting rid of all the weapons in our toolbox and saying, okay, we're going to kick our feet up and give up in this battle. So you have to have one or the other. And the fact, Cherry Creek School District here in Colorado, they've lifted it without a vaccine mandate. To me, it just makes absolutely no sense.
Let me just slide in here real quickly. Do you think it will ever happen that we could personalize these rules to certain people? That's never going to happen, right?
Tell me what you mean by that.
Say an older generation, right? They're more they're more likely susceptible.
Risk.
Yes, they're at a high risk.
My word was better.
Yes, they both work. But I'm saying that's just an example. But I'm even scared to say some of the other examples for fear that I will be canceled. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so how, could you tell a specific group of people, listen, you need to really watch yourself. Being a doctor, it's lessening for other people, but you really need to watch yourself and continue to wear that mask. Will that ever happen in America where you can tell a certain group of people to be more cautious?
Yes and no. So if you go into a cancer ward where people are getting bone marrow transplants and don't have an immune system, you got to gown up. And we've been doing this for years, long before COVID. But the problem with COVID is if only some susceptible people are masking up and not everybody else, we are allowing the infection to mutate. We're allowing new variants to come up. We are allowing a reservoir for the virus to spread, which can then impact those susceptible people. So we all actually have to be on the same team for this one. The quarterback and the linebacker and everybody else, my sports analogy
Very
here.
timely.
Yes, have to be on the same team, because if they're all just looking out for their careers, their goals, you're not playing the same sport.
What about vaccines before we go? Because I know that that's another hot button issue. Do you believe that vaccines has been the best tool for fighting this pandemic?
The vaccine is like the nuclear bomb. That's what did it. Do you remember life before the vaccines?
I do, and I feel like everybody's forgotten. I'm like, has the whole world gone crazy? Do you guys remember when we were sitting in our houses and we were scared to touch each other? I was like, can I hug my kid? And now everybody's throwing things at school superintendents because I think this country, I'm sorry, is just very disrespectful to the medical community. And what they've given us.
And TV hosts.
And especially TV hosts. We do the most important jobs.
Wait,
but
are
no,
you a
it's so
teacher or a
interesting.
doctor?
Yeah, teachers are there every day.
Right.
The kids, they're in your face. It's in your classroom. Some classrooms do not have ventilation. It's a very scary thing. And we were, at the beginning, so pro-teachers. Remember, people were opening their doors and howling at night for the nurses, whatever that was. And then 2 weeks later, now we're blocking the nurses from going into work. Yeah. Now we're assaulting school officials. I don't know. Honestly, this country is super disrespectful and super, I cannot believe the disrespect. We're already ready to take masks off. We tried that once and tried to get back to our lives. And what happened? Concerts got canceled. Yeah. The Denver Broncos were starting a dude that was at Safeway. You cannot just say we're done with this.
Right.
I don't understand what people need, Sam.
We're taking 2 steps forward to take 3 steps back.
Yeah, let's show the virus what's up, because the virus has ears and cares that you want to go to your 9 Inch Nails concert. We'll just see. And you do want to go.
I do, but that's
and
in
I hope
September,
you can go.
And I will not go.
We're going to put that in the universe.
Right, let's put it in the universe.
Shout out to 9 Inch Nails.
Shout out to 9 Inch Nails. Dr. Kohli, we love you. Thank you, thank you for always shedding the light. We appreciate you.
Wednesday on DBL, the daughter of a KKK Grand Dragon joins us live. Plus, Jillian Michaels from The Biggest Loser will also be here live. That's Wednesday on DBL.